Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Executive Table Talk, the sales edition. So, for those of you that follow us on a weekly basis, Executive Table Talk is the platform where we interview top executives about today's hottest subjects. And today we're going to be talking about a sales theme subject, the concept of using online content to generate sales, generate new business, which I'm really excited about. So please be ready to get your questions answered here on the show. If you have a question, put it in the chat. Also love to see where you're dialing in from today. So pop that in there as well. But I don't want to wait because I've got three amazing experts that I want to bring up to the stage here today. Please welcome Lynn Holland, Kathryn Marshburn, and Percy Leon. Hi, everyone. Good to have you here. Thank you so much. So Lynn, I'm going to start with you first because you have been talking for a while. And folks, let me just back up and say all three of these experts are posting incredible content here on LinkedIn. Please make sure you go jot their names down, find and follow them on LinkedIn because you're going to learn a lot from them. But Lynn, the content you've been doing lately has been all around realizing that sort of post-pandemic has been the true tipping point and that sales, people are doing homework online. So let's talk about that and your realization of the transition, I guess, of sales and how we're using online content to do that.
Thank you. I'm so excited to talk about this subject because as a tech seller, I felt like I was front and center when the pandemic hit, and there really felt like there was a buying revolution where buyers just stopped responding to out-of-date, out-of-touch corporate marketing content and efforts. They no longer willingly wanted to go to a salesperson to get their information, where they would have to work with that sales rep to get information to research or to evaluate. And they were no longer accessible, right? So we no longer have the in-person events, the trade shows, the conferences, and historically, that is where buyers or sellers would depend on meeting with their buyers to prospect and to further the sales process. So instead, buyers now wanted to shop anonymously. They wanted to look to their peers to find potential vendors and potential solutions. And they expected these vendors to educate them. They wanted to have that information to thoroughly research a potential vendor and solution. They wanted there to gain that understanding of credibility with that vendor. And they wanted to be developed into a high intent buyer, somebody that well into their buying journey now wanted to voluntarily convert, if you will, to reach out with a web form, or maybe it was a call, but it was where they would now request a demo. They would request a proposal. They would request a conversation. And the vehicle to do that was content, and not just any content, but content that would help them to solve a problem. Content that would serve them and would give to them without having strings attached. So here's my 5 tips for using content to generate sales, to getting that buyer to where they're at a point where they recognize they have a problem, they see you as a potential solution to their problem, and they're ready to engage in a conversation. So my first tip: building deep teaching insights. So this is going to be content that's going to deliver value. And whether that is a non-obvious solution to an obvious problem, or it could be a non-obvious problem for an obvious solution, but regardless, you're helping them to understand how they can make money, they can save money, they can reduce risk in the way that they're doing business. Second of all, would be to take all of that great, insightful information and embed it into content that you're going to now publish that out into the native networks where your particular ideal customer profile or buyer is spending time. They naturally go there for information. So the sites where a consumer is going to go are not going to be the same sites that a enterprise buyer may be going to go. So you're targeting where they are going to go, your buyer. Thirdly is turning those insights into a free resource where it's embedded into a piece of content that you're out sharing. It's at your website where they can download that easily with no strings attached. Fourthly is to also network, make that a priority where you're out there connecting with people within your ideal community and you're sharing that content and you're doing it freely. Again, you're not asking for something in return. And then lastly is making our website really a library or repository, a destination where our potential buyers are going to go, where they're getting clear, concise information and they can really binge on the variety of our content. And there they can, once they've, again, become somebody that knows they have a problem, that they see you as a potential solution, and they're prepared internally to engage in a buying conversation, now they can ask for a demo, they can ask for a trial, or they can buy your product. But the overarching process now is around content and good quality content.
JT, you're on mute, I think.
Look at that. Oh my goodness. Lynn, I love this discussion because I read somewhere, and don't quote me, I don't have the exact location, but they said as much as 60% of the buying decision has already been made by the time they ask you for that demo, like you're talking about. Yeah, right? Because they've done their homework. And to not have that repository, I love how you talked about the website being a repository of information. People need to be able to kind of go down the rabbit hole and consume in order to make that decision. I love the way you presented that. So thank you for that. Great framework there, by the way. Sounds like you could literally go in and implement that for any company, which is huge, which I love. I want to jump over to you, Kathryn, which, by the way, thank you for reminding me to get off the mic. The mute. Gotta love it. You have this incredible background, right? The work that you've been doing specifically in the music industry, which the music industry, by definition, always has to be cutting edge, bleeding edge, right? Is making the use of social, making the use of content. So you really have some cool ideas around how other industries, other groups could be applying this. So let's talk a little bit about that.
I have a very practical approach as I work with artists today, and I'm in the trenches with artists, rebuilding fan bases, waking up their fan bases. And so I look at the time right now in 2023 as this huge opportunity to create awareness campaigns that are free. They cost $0 on social media to create, and they're so helpful. And the data backs this up, that awareness campaigns in front of consumers is super powerful. I think we could all agree on the call that we are no longer confused in 2023 that social media works. I would say in 2012, this goes to Percy and YouTube. In 2012, when I was starting a YouTube channel for an artist, and today she has over 1.2 million subscribers, I would say in 2012, I might have been kind of side-eyeing Twitter or Instagram, like, are these things really going to stay? Well, they're here. So I don't think anyone is confused with the concept that social media is so powerful for driving sales, especially with content. But the consumers that you are trying to sell your music, your product, your services, they aren't interested in your opinion if the 15-year-old on TikTok is trending. The consumer or the clients that are wanting to buy your goods and services, especially music, are not really concerned with your feeling about if you like Facebook or if you don't. The consumers today are really busy. They're on their phones, they're living their life. They see things and they're buying, they're using their money and their dollars to buy. So the platforms are really powerful for you and they're free. So most salespeople are like, wow, awareness campaigns are free. Well, what's the key? You're probably not going to like what I'm going to say next. For any independent music artist, brand, or company, we all, just like everyone on this call, are going to have to shift into posting about 8 to 12 times a day on about 6 different platforms. And that would be YouTube Shorts, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snap, and LinkedIn. Super powerful. So I would never have thought back in the day that myself, I would have a TikTok, a LinkedIn page, Instagram, Facebook, and they're all hustling right now, as all of us are learning very quickly that in 2023, I don't think, I'm excited for the year. I don't think the year is going to turn out as bad as a 1990 or as bad as a 2008, but 2023 is going to be scary. But I am excited about it because I think you're going to start to see like a separation of companies. You're going to see who's going to survive and who has the stomach to really get out there and push sales through content. So to me, that's super exciting. And again, for any music artist out there as well, the consistency, the volume, that quality of content, the free content and awareness campaigns, just try it for like 3 months and see the results. Because I've been doing this on a heavier rotation for about the past 30 days, and the opportunities have been insane. So I encourage everybody to like jump into the awareness campaigns and content online for sure to increase sales.
I love it. Okay. So first of all, thank you for saying that, because for the longest time, even when I've talked to people and said, look, you need to get out there if you're marketing yourself, right? As a career coach, I keep saying, you've got to get out there and share. And they're like, why would I give my best stuff away? Why would I give my best content away? But to your point, the awareness, people don't know if you know what you know. That sounds like I say that as a joke, but until you go out there and you just keep dropping knowledge bombs and dropping information, they're not aware of you. And you, depending on what thing you say, it can take 17 times on average before somebody actually recognizes and associates you with something. So I loved your numbers there where you said 3 months, try to post 8 times a day, 8 to 10 times a day across 6 different platforms. Just do that math. Yes, it is a little roll up your sleeves. I'm with you, Kathryn. But no doubt it works. I completely agree with you. And I love that you're saying, just try it, folks. Come back and tell us if it doesn't, because we already know it does work. So
if you think about Nike, like I buy Nike because it's been 30 years of this amazing branded campaign. For Nike, for me, it hasn't been an ad coming on any of those platforms. For me, it's been that brand's consistency, and that's been an awareness campaign. So to that point, that data backs it up right there. So anyway.
It really does. No, that was fantastic. I loved it. And you mentioned some of the platforms, and we're coming into the third one, Percy, YouTube. I mean, you are a YouTube pro. You've got videos that have millions of views on YouTube. YouTube is definitely here to stay, in my opinion. I think it's only get bigger and bigger. You hear the controversy about TikTok. Could TikTok get banned? Even more reason for people to think about how they're going to build their video presence. But let's talk about it. How do you sell on YouTube today? What's your advice on that?
Well, my advice on YouTube, number one, obviously, is starting a YouTube channel, building a community, make sure you're having engagement. I think what YouTube requires right now is at least 4,000 hours of watch time, at least 1,000 subscribers to be able to monetize. So monetization is number one, one of the best ways to actually get, to generate income on YouTube. But also too, if you look at like last year, I believe it was the Influential Marketing Hub, they posted that at least 18 billion went into influential marketing last year. And that was kind of like a 90% increase compared to 2021. So once you start your YouTube channel, pretty much other ways of generating sales would be sponsorships. You have advertising, affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing could be anywhere from like Amazon, influential marketing. So for example, if you're showing up, let's say a new camera or a new lighting or a new mic, you could do a quick review on it and then put your affiliate link. So, and then the customer, if they really like your content, you gave them the correct information, they can go to Amazon and purchase it. And I believe that once they click on it, they have 48 hours to make a purchase where you can get some sort of income back from Amazon. And obviously another way would be coaching. If you have something that you started, for example, like a filmmaking class or something about AI, and you're teaching people about this and you have a coaching service, that's another way of generating sales too. But going back into influencer marketing now, before it used to be where companies, brands were looking for people who had millions of subscribers, a huge watch time, millions of subscribers. But now everything has changed. Now they're looking for people who have strong engagement. So they're looking at people who are like, let's say, nano influencers. Nano influencers can be anywhere from like 100 subscribers all the way up to 1,000 subscribers, and at least a 5.6 engagement. So you have a good community, a small community, and you're engaging with them. Brands going to start approaching you, and you can also approach brands as well too. They're also going after, let's say, the micro influencers, anywhere from like 10K to 100K subscribers as well. That's another way. That's also brands are also looking to them, especially if you have a really strong engagement. So those are the different ways, and also obviously merchandise sales too. I mean, you have Logan Paul with his like shirts, and now his Prime drink as well, which he's selling, which became like the number one, like, I guess, what is it? The number one sponsor to UFC and so on, and Mr. Beast with his chocolate bars and all that. So, I mean, there's so many different ways that you can create online sales in video. And now also too, since YouTube has gone into like podcasting, that brings you another channel of distribution also to bring online sales. I don't know how that's going to work yet, but that's also another avenue though too. And as long as you're like putting your stuff out, let's say you do your long form content, which long form content is probably one of the most important ones, and then you kind of cut into pieces, some of it on TikTok, some of it on YouTube Shorts, Instagram, Snapchat too as well. You can generate an audience that way as well though too.
Love it. Percy, YouTube is such a beast at this point. There are just so many ways to use it. Do you have a couple of resources you can recommend to everybody? If you're a company and you're saying, okay, I think we need to start creating content, helpful content on YouTube, where would you send them? Where do you think the best place is to start so you're not overwhelmed?
Think Media, the Think Media podcast, and that's the place where I learned. That gives you like what's working on YouTube. The certain trends. It'll give you equipment to buy. It's so much for like the beginner who's just starting off on YouTube, who wants to grow a channel. I would send them to them. I would also send them to Robert Blake. That's another great influencer to learn from as well. But that's how I learned how to navigate YouTube and learn what's working, what's not working, and also knowing how to pivot. So that's one of the two channels that I would definitely recommend to people who are starting a YouTube channel on.
Fantastic. Very, very helpful. Okay. I want to go back and ask a couple of questions. So Lynn, let's talk about this. The 5-step process that you kind of talked about, that 5 things to keep in mind or areas that you want to create user-generated content. Is there any industry that you see right now that you see that like probably most really needs to make this transition to online content for selling?
I don't know that any industry is really immune. I think that because content and social media has become so large, it was a consumer-led, I think, initiative. A lot of interest there, but now I think in an enterprise environment that regular business people are really thinking about that as well. It goes into what's happening in our economy. People are getting laid off. People are thinking, I need a side hustle. And so people that are in our business networks too are engaging with it. They're starting to create it themselves. And so I think there's not an excuse for any good business person to not be creating content. And so there's value in every one of these recommendations, whether you're, a person that's not presently working and you're thinking of yourself as just as a consumer buying consumer products, or you're a business person that's employed and yet doesn't have job security because that's not really a thing anymore, and you want a side hustle. So I really think everybody needs to be paying attention to this and stepping out and trying things, testing things. Even in enterprise sales, marketing folks in that capacity, they're encouraged always to do A/B testing. So you're always trying something new and seeing what works, and what worked, 6 months ago may not be the same thing that's working today. So I think we're constantly needing to evolve. I listened to a Gary Vee message that he gave of, what's your excuse for not doing content? And it was, we're intimidated. We're afraid of what are people going to think. And he's like, you need to get over that, because this is not going away and you're going to get left behind.
I'm so glad you said that. I'm with you completely. I don't think any industry is immune. I think we all know that if you don't learn to do this, you're going to wake up so far behind, you might not be able to catch up. And so I get excited because when I hear somebody like you articulate such a clear process like you did, that tells me any company, any industry should be utilizing and applying that. There's just no excuses anymore. So I'm with you 100%. I love it. And I just lastly want to come over to you, Kathryn. You helped build a YouTube channel to over 1 million subscribers. Can you think of one or two things that particularly helped that, bump, so to speak? I mean, everyone wants to go viral, and I don't think it's about being viral, but was there something that you can look back to and say, yeah, this really had an impact? It significantly bumped the situation?
I can. I think organic reach in general is on its way up. So any content on YouTube that you can put out that's organic, I think is going to just skyrocket. I think we're like shying away. I mean, Percy can chime here, but I think we're shying away a little more from these super heavy commercially produced pieces of content. I think it's easier, fast, and I can't wait to check out Think Media podcast and Robert Blake. But in my tenure from 2012 until now, I was not an overnight success with this artist. It was a lot of time and energy put into this YouTube channel. It was probably over 150 music videos. Then we created parallel segments, touring, lifestyle, beauty. It was a female, so we did beauty. And I have all the confidence in the world that I'm going to follow Percy's advice that these engagement numbers are more important than having 1 million subscriber channel. That interaction is important. So to me, the two easiest ways to engage in that type of interaction on a YouTube channel would be collaborations with other YouTubers, whether they're smaller or larger. That cool collaboration is still very attractive to Gen Z and millennials. And also, I myself, I don't know how you guys feel, I always like behind the scenes touring videos for major artists or independent artists. I find their days are very interesting, sound checks, touring, writing songs, producing songs. And it's a hard business. I think a lot of people enjoy seeing the behind the scenes and also the touring clips of like lifestyle. So I guess that would be my recommendation, is really look at more of an organic approach to the content that you're putting up. And I think that would drive the numbers up in subscribers and engagement.
I love that. And I think the whole idea that a look inside the life, right? I think that's where we've gone with social. It's not scripted anymore. It's not overproduced, which again means no excuses for any business or any individual listening to the session today. This can be done, with a little sweat equity, so there is no excuse. I think you've all made incredible points today. I hate when 30 minutes goes so fast. This was fantastic. So folks, if you want to learn more from each of these wonderful experts, please jot their names down right now. Go find them on LinkedIn. Tell them that you saw them on Work It Daily's Executive Table Talk Sales Edition. Make sure you customize the connection request to them. That way they'll know to accept the connection request. And be sure to follow them because they're pushing out incredibly insightful information within their various social feeds, especially here on LinkedIn, which I'm excited about. Thank you so much, Percy, Kathryn, Lynn. Very, very valuable session today. Hopefully you'll come back on again because we're doing sales table talks every month. Folks, if you've got ideas for executive table talks, if you want to hear these experts talk about a subject, please pop it in the chat or head on over to workitdaily.com. Sign up for our daily newsletter so you can get reminders and notifications of our live events. And also you'll be able to submit your ideas for future episodes there as well. Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone. Remember, if you want to win, you got to work it daily. Go get it, my friends. Bye-bye.